What are the benefits of IGF-1 LR3? Well, most conversations around this just stop at muscle. And muscle's real. I mean, if you look at what IGF-1 does in the body, it's such a powerful compound. And yes, IGF stands for insulin-like growth factors. So yes, it is similar to insulin. It is working on some of these same receptors. And the insulin and IGF-1, they compete for getting your cells' attention. And if IGF-1 gets more attention, you're probably going to build more muscle. But I look at IGF-1 LR3, it's not just a single system compound, it's multi-system signaling. It's crossing into the brain, it influences fat metabolism, it's connected to your bone density, to your metabolic health, and the broader architecture of biological aging or age reversal. And so when you can understand the full benefit of this peptide, then you can also start recognizing that there is a risk, because anytime you're changing your biological inputs, there's going to be risks that are imposed. And these risks we're still learning. IGF-1 LR3, it's not a FDA-approved molecule. This peptide has been used for decades. There are some consequences. So in this video, I'll be deconstructing exactly what IGF-1, the benefits are, why people have used it over the years, where it stands as far as a safety profile. But at the end of the day, this is not medical advice. This is me giving you some information that I've learned on a subject that I find very fascinating, which is IGF-1. And so if you want to go deeper in your health and actually work with a team and not try to piece together all this information on your own, just go to agelessfuture.com, get your blood labs ran there with my team. They'll take great care of you. So IGF-1 LR3, what it does is it binds to this receptor called IGF-1R. And this IGF-1 receptor, it's present in virtually every cell in your body, and there's two primary pathways that are activated. Pathway 1 is your PI3K, ATK, and mTORC1. And this pathway activates protein synthesis so you can build muscle, satellite cell activation, so that triggers the formation of new muscle cells, glucose uptake via the GLUT4 translocation, suppression of the FOXO-driven autophagy genes. This is an anabolic and anti-catabolic axis. So anabolics is where we're building up. Catabolics is where we're removing things. So the body's never in this like perfect state. Homeostasis is impossible. We'd die if everything just suddenly became perfectly balanced. There needs to be tension. Just like there's masculine energy, there's feminine energy. That tension is what causes different genes to be expressed and allows our body to recover and heal. And so pathway 2 is the RAS, the MAPK, and the ERK, and that leads to cell proliferation and differentiation and hyperplasia, and that's where you get this growth and regeneration axis. And so if you're somebody who's done regenerative medicine, you know, I've torn both the rotator cuffs in my shoulders twice, so I've had 4 full-thickness rotator cuff tears. They are not fun. It's hard to sleep, you don't recover, really hard to put on upper body muscle mass. I was able to use stem cells and regenerative medicine from the umbilical cord tissue, and I remember when I was utilizing that, you know, in the beginning, this was 15 years ago, I had a really good response from the treatment, and I had a recovery within about 3 months. When I tore it again, a few years later, I was now using peptides, and one of the peptides I used were growth hormone releasing peptides to activate IGF-1 because of this very pathway that it works on. And I found that my recovery time was cut down. What took 3 months was cut down to about 6 weeks. Now that's anecdotal, and I don't know if it would do anything for you, but I have found that if you can get the right regenerative properties in your body, pain can be optional. And we have a strict no pain policy at Ageless Future, so make sure you get rid of your pain. So here's a study on IGF-1 in the British Journal of Pharmacology. What they said is IGF-1 stimulates both proliferation and differentiation in myoblasts and drives satellite cell fusion into existing fibers. This is the biological mechanism of true hypertrophy. Muscle comprises approximately 40% of your total body mass, and this dual anabolic signaling pathway is why IGF-1 LR3 is studied in the context of sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is where we lose muscle mass, our blood vessels get brittle, gets replaced by adipose tissue. Muscle wasting can result, and performance recovery. And so the research on neuroprotection and IGF-1. Now, IGF-1, it unlocks BDNF in the brain, and really powerful because a very similar peptide called tesamorelin, these are both very long chains of amino acids, and they very closely resemble growth hormone. But in the clinical studies with tesamorelin, they took men who were over 60 who had mild cognitive decline, and they had an improvement in their cognitive function. Now, we don't have the same kind of clinical data with IGF-1 yet, but it does seem to have the same kind of mechanism of action that we could hypothesize that would help with neuroprotection, help with cognitive impairment. In 2022, they documented that IGF-1 receptors are widely expressed throughout your entire central nervous system, in your cortex, your hippocampus, in your hypothalamus, in your thalamus, and your amygdala. IGF-1 promoted hippocampal neurogenesis, so the formation of new nerves. In the hippocampus, it supports synaptic plasticity via the Krebs phosphorylation and the calcium MK pathways, and protects against glutamate-mediated excitotoxicity. And so in a meta-analysis of 13 observational studies in healthy older adults showed higher IGF-1 levels correlating to better cognitive functioning, kind of like I was mentioning with tesamorelin, which is also a growth hormone releasing peptide. And they found that in these studies that there was a medium to large effect on the size and cognitive function. In the skeletal muscle, so hypertrophy and preservation, IGF-1 LR3, it activates satellite cells, it increases protein synthesis rates, it improves nitrogen retention, and suppresses muscle protein degradation via the FOXO4 MU-RF1 downregulation. It drives both hypertrophy, or enlarged muscle fibers, and hyperplasia, new fiber formations across sustained cycles. This is what makes it a very distinct compound versus some of the shorter acting compounds. Now, IGF-1 LR3, yes, a lot of interesting things. Fat metabolism, they found lipolysis and nutrient partitioning. IGF-1 LR3, it promotes the breakdown of stored body fat and improves insulin sensitivity. It enhances how nutrients are directed preferentially towards muscle rather than adipose tissue. And so that nutrient partitioning effect is well documented in the context of both body recomposition, if that's one of your goals, and growth hormone biology. And especially if you're on a GLP-1, like something like Ozempic or Mounjaro, you're going to want to protect the nutrient sensing because you're having that delay of that slowing down of nutrients running through your stomach. That's what makes you feel fuller, one of the mechanisms. Well, having better nutrient sensing will help you build more muscle, help you really absorb the nutrients from your food. In the brain, it promotes neurogenesis, cognitive function. IGF-1 crosses through the blood-brain barrier. It activates pathways in the hippocampal neurons. It promotes adult neurogenesis. It increases BDNF and NGF levels. And it may actually support, and this is what some of the animal models are leaning towards, but it may support alpha-beta clearance mechanisms of those plaques relative to Alzheimer's pathology. And that, was a study, as Frontiers in Neurobiology in 2026 noted. They said IGF-1 signaling impairment directly contributes to cognitive decline. You do not want that low. In your bones, it creates skeletal integrity. I mean, bone mineral density is such an important thing. This was documented IGF-1 in 2018. They documented in bone matrix synthesis and skeletal homeostasis and age-related decline. In IGF-1 is the mechanism behind sarcopenia and osteoporosis. And so keeping that healthy is really critical. And then from a longevity and metabolic health, this U-shaped relationship, this is the most nuanced because in aging individuals, this study involved 31,000 participants across 19 studies. They identified the U-shape where you have real risks if your IGF-1 levels are too low, and then real risks if they're too high. And so this is where these peptides, when done properly, there's enormous benefits you can have as far as pushing out that aging pathway and making aging optional. And for those of you who want to go deeper, realize IGF-1 LR3, there are real threats. Your blood sugar can drop too low. You can retain weight. It activates mTOR, which makes your cancer risk higher. So do not do this on your own. Make sure you've got a licensed medical team who understands peptides, understands functional medicine. If you need a team of experts to work with, go to agelessfuture.com and talk to one of my team members there, and they'll help you get your blood labs ran. I'm Regan Archibald. I'll see you on the next video.